Okay, just a week late, I am here to give my review of Jodie Whittaker's regeneration special, The Power of the Doctor. So, mainly when I was watching this episode, I was kind of distracted the whole time, really hoping that she was not going to regenerate into David Tennant at the end. And then she did. So, my initial reaction coming off of it was, oh, I'm very disappointed. But just because of that. So I have softened slightly on the idea since then. I'm still not thrilled with it, but I'm at least going to give it a chance and see how they go before I judge it. I do feel like the decision to do it is kind of pandering to the toxic element of the Doctor Who fan base, which I do not love, and I think in general the show should be moving forwards, not backwards, but again, I'm going to see how it goes. So that big elephant in the room out of the way, I thought for the most part that the rest of the episode was pretty good. It was a chaotic mess, but it was a chaotic mess that had, some pretty good emotional beats, and that is really what the best you can get out of a regeneration special, isn't it? Like, I'd have to go back and think. I mean, yeah, a lot of them are very chaotic. It's kind of the whole thing. It threw everything at the wall. Well, it didn't touch on the Timeless Child, but given that I hate the Timeless Child plot, I'm actually perfectly fine with it not touching on the Timeless Child. I think we can do without that, so it just makes it easier to disregard, in fact. So yeah, it did not touch on that, and I'm fine with it. So what we did get was the team up between the Daleks, the Cybermen, and the Master. The Daleks and the Cybermen are basically just like pawns in the Master's plot. That was fine. I mean, if they had tried to give them all like a major part of the plot, it would have been way too overstuffed. It was already kind of overstuffed as it was, so I don't really mind that decision on their part. I think that the Master's plan made little to no sense. Him inserting himself into the pictures was obviously just to troll the Doctor. The whole planet force regeneration, it didn't make a ton of sense. The logistics like held together paper thin, but a lot of my favorite Doctor Who stories have logistics that are paper thin if you really look at them too hard, and that's fine because it's really about the fun and the emotion, and the plot can just kind of make sense. I mean, I love the ones that are like really well plotted out and have like really cool science ideas or like really like good plotting, but like it's not a requirement for me for a Doctor Who episode. So I didn't mind that it had like a very thin plot logistically, especially because I felt like a lot of the emotional beats worked. So I felt like they handled bringing back old companions pretty well. I was having a lot of like comparisons in my head to School Reunion, obviously when they brought Sarah Jane back the first time, and the way that she talked to Rose. I wish we had gotten more between Yaz and Tegan and Ace, like more of that sort of dynamic. I felt like, well, I'll come back to Yaz's story, but I felt like it would have been nice to see how she felt about like with them having been left behind. And then I thought the companion support group is really cool. It's something I really like. It's amazing that they've never thought to do it before, honestly. I love that we have that. I love getting to see everyone we saw. I haven't seen the classic series, so I didn't know, like I wasn't familiar with some of them, but I knew like who they were. And Joe, obviously I know from Sarah Jane Adventures, so yeah, it was pretty cool. It was getting to see that. I, kind of wish they could have maybe had a couple more, but obviously only actors who are available can do it. So yeah, that was pretty great. I thought that they handled bringing back the doctors they brought back really well too, and that's always a very tricky thing. And again, I had mentioned how I had some issues with what they're doing with Tennant. Like, it's hard to bring back another doctor, like an old doctor, correctly, but I think they did it well. Especially I think the part in like the sort of weird regeneration escape thing, which didn't make a ton of sense, but again, whatever. But like where they had them all talking to Jodie, that was nice, sort of them all coming back and saying like, this is who we are, like we have to, yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I thought that scene worked. I thought it was nice, a good way to show them all back. I thought that was good, and it was really nice seeing Tegan and Ace getting to talk to like their specific doctors. Like, again, I haven't seen those runs, I haven't seen those companions or those doctors, but just like the concept of it was really nice. And I do know about Adric and like that story, so I did get that reference. I'm gonna watch Classic Who at some point. I have to figure out how to get access to BritBox. But yeah, so that, I thought that was really well handled, honestly, with all of them coming back. And it really was like a great celebration of like the history, which obviously since it's the centenary special is what it's supposed to do, and I thought that was really nice. But I felt like Jodie still got a good amount to do. I wish she'd gotten a little more. She has like a little bit sort of sidelined by the whole like forced regeneration thing. Like, so I wish for her final story she got to do a little more, but I felt like she got enough and she gave us a good final performance. I mean, I've never had an issue with her performance. I've had some issues with this era with certain things Chibnall has done, but she has never been a problem. She's been great, and I felt like she was good here. So yeah, overall I thought that was good. Yeah, like I said, the plot kind of but it was fun. It flowed. We got to see Kate, which is always great. So yeah, that was all good. Okay, now I gotta talk about the companions. Dan leaving early on, I mean, I get it. Life always in danger. I'd probably leave too, but I felt like it was a little weird. Like, they could have just had him leave at the end of the episode, and I'm not sure why. I guess maybe he wasn't available to film a lot of the episode. I don't know. But I thought it made sense as an ending for him. Yaz, not so much. I understand out of universe why Yaz had to leave, because the showrunners are changing and they always change characters. But doctors have regenerated with companions before, so her saying she had to do it alone and then just dropping Yaz off did not really make sense to me as a character choice. So I was like not thrilled with that. And I felt like they should have made a reason, like a real character reason why Yaz wanted to leave or why the doctor left her, either way. But like they didn't really give a good character reason to justify the leaving, so I was just thinking, oh yeah, it's because there's a new showrunner, and that's not ideal. So I did not feel that they handled it the best. And I felt like, yeah, we just didn't get enough of Yaz in this episode. Like, again, I would have liked to see her interact with Tegan and Ace more, and that could have explained part of why she left. Like, they could have talked about it, and that could have been something that motivated her to leave, or motivated the doctor to leave her. And they didn't touch at all on the stuff set up about, you know, how they have feelings for each other, especially Yaz for the doctor. Like, they touched on it in Legend of the Sea Devils, and then they did not bring that back here at all. Like, they didn't even mention it, and I felt like just leaving that plot hanging was not great. However, I was very worried with all the stuff set up that Yaz was going to die, and she did not die, so that alone makes me at least happier than I was afraid I was going to be. But yeah, I felt like that exit was not handled the best. But I liked her in like the whole companion support group, but again, I really love that scene, so yeah. And yeah, I liked Jodie's performance. I thought her final lines were great. I thought tag your it was like a really fun final line for her. I did feel like that was cheapened kind of by, instead of being the next doctor, it being Tennant. But again, I will hold out opinions on the Tennant thing until we've seen how that plays out. So yeah, overall, I'd rate this a 7 out of 10. Not my favorite Doctor Who story, but pretty decent. I had a good time watching it. And yeah, I'm excited to see what RTD brings to the show for his second era. Have some hang-ups because unlike a lot of people, I'd prefer Moffat's era to RTD's first era. But, you know, I'm sure, like, I mean, I trust that Doctor Who will always be something that I love, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So, yeah. Thanks for watching.